I'm standing here with Christof Koch. He's a neuroscientist from the Allen Institute and one of the key guys in the whole area of neuroscience. And we have just been with Winston at Appellen, where we discussed can we create consciousness in a machine? And you had some quite radical views on that. Can you say something about, can we do that? Is it possible?
In principle, we can recreate consciousness in other systems, non-organic systems. In practice, we cannot simulate them. You can't simulate consciousness. Consciousness is not a particular type of computation. It's not a special magic algorithm that if you just run the right algorithm, suddenly it feels like something. In order to create consciousness in another physical system like a computer, you would have to replicate, emulate, not simulate. You have to emulate the hardware of the human brain, the only system that we know, the only physical object in the universe that we're certain creates consciousness. So you have to build what's known as neuromorphic hardware. Then you can, in principle, create human-level consciousness in a silicon artifact.
And what is sort of the, you can say, the proof for that statement? I mean, why do you think that's the case?
Well, it's a consequence of the sort of the most dominant or the dominant theory of consciousness called integrated information theory. But you can make an analogy, just like if you simulate, if you write down Einstein fields equation on a little laptop computer to simulate the central hole at the black hole at the center of our galaxy, you can perfectly well do that. The software will accurately simulate the gravitational attraction of a black hole that's so big that it twists space-time around it, no light can escape. But finally, you can perfectly well sit in front of this laptop. You don't get sucked into your machine. Why not? I mean, after all, you're accurately simulating gravity. That's because this simulation doesn't have the causal power of gravity. It doesn't have the causal power to bend space-time. Same thing with consciousness. Ultimately, consciousness is cause-effect power of a system upon itself. You can't simulate causal powers. You have to give the system, you have to enable the system to have causal powers.
So you don't think consciousness is just something that you are seeing as a subjective thing you see from the outside? Because some are saying that's how it is, you know.
You can't see consciousness from the outside. I don't know you're conscious. Yeah. I infer you're conscious. Why? Because you behave very similar to me. Yeah. I know you have a brain. Your brain is very similar to me. Therefore, it's very reasonable to suppose that you're conscious. The only consciousness I have access to is my own. It's a property. It's an inside property. Look, physics tells us how the world of objects behaves from the outside. Consciousness tells us how complex physical systems like the brain look from the inside.
So you're saying there's not necessarily a relation between intelligence and consciousness?
That's correct. You can certainly today the argument is that you can create, intelligence to drive a car, play Go, etc., but without consciousness. And in principle, intelligence is a behavior, while consciousness is an inner experience. And in principle, they don't have to go at all together. All right. It's just in us and in closely related species they go together. But that's because we're a product of biological evolution. If we build them, we can completely dissociate consciousness from behavior
and intelligence.
And intelligence.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.